We talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm?
What is President Biden doing for my small business? First and foremost, he nominated a woman to lead the Small Business Administration.
Apologize? Look, I have said repeatedly, we made a mistake.
The best of sound now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's going on, Habibis? I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Mujahed Kobbe.
And we're the Habibi Bros. Welcome to another episode of Habibi Power Hour. What's happening, Jay?
Just people getting in trouble for killing grandma.
Well, I just got to say this. There's one thing that could save grandma: nominating a woman to head up the Small Business Administration. I see you play that clip one more time. Holy shit.
President Biden doing for my small business? First and foremost, he nominated a woman to lead the Small Business Administration who formerly worked there.
I mean, shit. There's nothing better. You can't make this shit up.
It's like you're at the doctor's office and they'd be like, look, first and foremost, the person who operated on your dead dad was a woman.
Jesus, it's so dark. It's like, it's breaking the news that you have a terminal illness and them saying, but it's okay. We hired a woman to operate on you.
That's good.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like their shield. They like to use that shit like their shield, man.
That's so bad. It's
hilarious.
like the second or third time that she's done that too.
Oh, yeah, with the treasury. It's like, the economy is kind of doing bad. What's going on? Well, we have a woman running the treasury, so
it's all good. It's all good. It's everything is just fine and dandy. And you know what? Maybe we should have nominated a woman to be the New York governor because clearly Andrew Cuomo isn't doing a great job, especially in the last week. Maybe that's because he hired a woman to be his secretary. I'm kidding. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman. So for those of you who are certainly catching up to everything that's happened within the last week, or certainly it's happened on our Patreon channel, which we'll tell you a little bit more about. Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, his chickens have come home to roost. Basically in the last week, he's had calls for him to apologize for fudging the numbers on the nursing home death statistics from COVID-19 in his state. Even some calling him to resign. Now, a couple of things I want to point out. On Monday, Fox Business reported that, actually I want to say Tuesday, that McKinsey and Company, the global consulting firm accused of having a role in the opioid crisis, helped New York's health department author a report that was used to absolve Governor Andrew Cuomo of blame in the nursing home scandal. And that report was from July 6th of last year, in which the New York State Health Department of Health said Cuomo's controversial March 25th mandate ordering nursing homes to accept recovering COVID-19 patients was not directly responsible for a surge in nursing deaths. It blamed the surge on some 37,500 nursing home staffers throughout the state. So think about that for a second. He said he creates an order on March 25th to send patients who are recovering from COVID-19 to nursing homes. And an authored report from McKinsey and Company says, oh, it actually wasn't that. It's all these fucking nurses and they all got to go. So a number of things have happened in the fallout from it. First of all, Democrats have proposed stripping Cuomo of his emergency powers. Democrats, particularly within his own state. Yes. One of which is Assemblyman Ron Kim and then State Senator Alessandra Biaggi. They're soliciting support of a bill to repeal the emergency legislative abilities granted to Cuomo last spring in an effort to fight the pandemic. And the proposed legislation follows immediately the growing controversy over his administration's reporting of nursing home deaths. But this is where the story gets even spicier. Okay, today, Wednesday, Assemblyman Ron Kim, who I just mentioned before, who's soliciting support for stripping Cuomo of his emergency powers, told CNN that he received a phone call from Cuomo last week. And this is kind of a side note, as he was bathing his children at his home. I don't know why CNN included that, because it just said he like, you know, I was watching my kids' dirty fucking asses, the chock-filled shitty asses, when this motherfucking piece of shit Governor Andrew Cuomo gave me a call. I know Ron Kim probably doesn't speak like that. He's also Asian, so he probably doesn't speak like that, doubly so. But he says,
do the shitty Rice accent. Do it.
The shitty New York accent. I'll read the quote.
The shitty Rice accent from South Park.
Oh, shitty walk. Dude, that's gonna get us both canceled, man. I can't.
I know. It was save that for the premium episode.
Yeah, save that for the premium. Anyways, this is what Ron Kim told CNN. He said, "Quote: Governor Cuomo called me directly on Thursday to threaten my career if I did not cover up for Melissa DeRosa. Melissa DeRosa is the secretary for Cuomo, who apologized to Democratic lawmakers for covering up all the nursing home deaths." And he goes on, quote, and what she said, he tried to pressure me to issue a statement, and it was a very traumatizing experience. And then he goes on to say that that Cuomo proceeded to tell him that we're in this business together and we don't cross certain lines. And he said I hadn't seen his wrath and that he can destroy me. So we got a real TJ Ducklow over here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I love how we don't even have TJ Ducklow on the agenda yet, because that story just came in. That story just came and went so quickly. Guy left for basically intimidating a Politico reporter, and here we go. Andrew Cuomo basically pulling a TJ Ducklow, or Duck High, as Wonder Kimmy says. But yeah, a couple of other things. Just want to point this out. First of all, CNN reinstated its ban on Chris Cuomo covering his brother. Now, you all remember that over the course of the last year, Chris Cuomo had been trying to stick a giant Q-tip up Governor Cuomo's anus. And I would say, Jay, you probably have said it, that I probably can't say it as good as you, or as well as you, or as I should say as eloquently as you, but you say that Chris is literally trying to suck his brother's dick. Is that what it is?
That is literally what it is. That's what it was. It was actual incest that was playing. Yes, Nate, thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. It was actual incest that they would play live on air on CNN in order to try and cover the shit job that Andrew Cuomo was doing.
Yeah.
And it was so obvious. They wanted to butter him up, make him look more than what he was. And then you had all of these journalists stand in line and actually do that for him as well throughout the whole fucking pandemic.
Right.
So much so that it gave him fucking confidence to write a book in the middle of the pandemic, how to handle the pandemic.
That's
and then
so
he won
great.
an Emmy for the way he was handling it with journalists.
It's just fucking beautiful. It is fucking beautiful.
All of it laying into it.
To add, obviously essentially 100% to the story.
Essentially.
To complete the story, this is what's great. The Times-Union reports that the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn have launched an investigation that is examining, at least in part, the actions of Governor Cuomo's coronavirus task force and its handling of nursing homes and other long-term care facilities during the pandemic. It's in the Eastern District of New York, not Southern District of New York. That's the office that always goes after Trump. But they're currently in the opening early stages. And I just got to say, how fucking wow would that be if Andrew Cuomo ends up getting indicted for this? And and Trump just gets away scot-free
Twice.
for basically everything that's ever happened.
And that would be absolutely amazing. It would be poetic justice, seriously. And the fact that more people haven't been calling for him to get impeached or thrown in jail or any of that, as we see more of this come into light, is shocking to me. Because one little thing that Trump would do would be calling for impeachment. If this stuff came out, oh my God, people would be fucking their heads would be melting live on air, talking about wanting to impeach Trump and get him thrown in jail.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing that from anywhere. We see one retweet here, one retweet there. We don't see any reports coming out on anything. And the fact that they allowed Cuomo to interview his brother and lifted the ban on that shit.
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling, and CNN needs to be held accountable for that type of shit. Yeah. Most journalism needs to be held accountable for the shit that they push through.
What's obviously wild is that we knew about this all summer last year. I think it was initially reported. I think the Daily Caller initially picked it up, or at least that's the first time I saw it, and then it sort of like caught ablaze then.
But that's the thing. Also, like Steezy always says, Red Steezy on Twitter, he always says that CNN, MSNBC, and stuff like that, they will not report on important stories like these for the longest time until like Daily Caller or some right wing place reports on it, and then you have Ryan Stelter coming out and be like, right wing media is saying, right wing media is pushing,
Republicans pounce.
Yeah, and that's how they fucking twist it and they play it. And them trying to say that this isn't covering or trying to manipulate the way a story is being told is utter bullshit. It's horseshit. They're not doing it unbiasedly.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that Cuomo's coming out here telling an assemblyman, and this is the time where I say the name of the episode in the episode: protect your neck. This is the time where like Andrew Cuomo, he really shows his like how much of a thug he really is. I mean, look, if you want to like contrast him to Trump, which many people have tried to do, like Trump doesn't threaten to destroy. What he does is like, hey, maybe you could just do me a little favor. I know that Trump doesn't speak like that, but he sounds like, hey, maybe you could do me a little favor. Just find me some votes here in Georgia, like that kind of. It's really funny. Whereas Andrew Cuomo would be like, if you don't fucking do what I tell you to do, I'm gonna fucking kill you, your mother, your father, everyone you've ever loved, everyone you've ever made eye contact with. I'm going to fucking kill him. I'm going to burn your house down, and I'm going to piss on the ashes.
He's a cliche. He's a fucking cliche. That's what he is. He's a fucking brother of Frito cliche.
Yeah. Anthony Rivera, thank you. Anthony says, isn't this all stuff we knew last summer? Yes, it is. We really don't have some upstanding mainstream media reporters, don't we? Also, happy early birthday to Faye. Yes. Alhamdulillah, it is Faye's birthday on Thursday. Happy birthday, Faye. She is also subscribing patron. Patreon? Patron? Patreon? She is what? She is like, I think she's a gold Habibi. So thank you, Faye.
Gold Habibi in my heart.
Oh, she's always gold. She's gold in our hearts.
She asked me to take my shirt off and sing Happy Birthday in Arabic.
So are you gonna do that?
She asked me to do this. So this is for all of you. She asked me to do this. She DM'd me twice. No, I'm joking. She did not.
All right, you want the full screen?
I want to say sing Happy Birthday in Arabic. Do you know how to sing it in Arabic?
I don't know how to sing it in Arabic.
No. Do you know how to? Okay. سنة حلوة يا جميل سنة حلوة يا جميل سنة حلوة سنة حلوة سنة حلوة يا baby.
Happy early birthday, Faye. Shout outs to her. She's always been such a big supporter of the Habibi Bros and the show. No Cal Matt says, how does Siraj do a great New York accent? It's like my only go one. I mean, I am from New England, so it's not that bad. Damon says Siraj undefeated in doing horrendous impressions. Tug Pepper says Siraj impressions level 0. Not Steve says Siraj Trump impression to Gitmo. There we go. And then also Nate Beebe says Trump is an Italian. Okay. Before we go on to our next story, first of all, for all the Habibis who haven't already seen our first premium episode, it went up this past weekend on Sunday on our Patreon. A link is actually in the description of this video, and if you're listening, description of this podcast. And Janice, she asked the Pakistani impression number 1 in my heart. So there you go. You can see that our Patreon. You can go to it. Patreon.com/Habibi Bros. It is most good. I think I had a lot of fun making that episode, and I'm excited to make more. So if you haven't already, check it out. Literally the lowest tier on there gets you access to the premium episodes. Everything else there is just bonus. And I will say this, the highest tier, you do get to play video games with us, and we are beholden to you to play video games with you. So
blackout a day in the calendar, and we're all yours. However you want to play with us.
Yeah. 7 days a week. That's right. Vet ass pussy.
Vet ass pussy.
Vet ass pussy. Okay. Nick asks, which video games? That's up to you. If you have a particular game you want to play with us in mind, just tell us and we'll go ahead and download it. And we'll make it happen. It'll be a lot of fun.
Except Madden, Nate. I know you're white as fuck, but we're not playing Madden.
Yeah, the only sports game we're playing is FIFA.
It's FIFA.
Yeah. Essentially.
100%.
Okay, so next up, all right, so
Flight simulators, Matt.
Oh my god, flight simulators. Okay. Jay, like last night, President Biden went on he went on CNN's town hall with Anderson Cooper, and he was asked about the vaccine plan. This is what he said.
By the end of July. And the biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm? So you need the paraphernalia, you need the needle, you need the mechanisms to be able to get it in. You have to have people who can inject it in people's arms.
That's been one of the...
Okay, so that's all right. Big takeaway here. He says there's no vaccines. Okay. All right. Here's Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, on Axios on HBO just the other day.
You're coming up on a month in. You're inside the machine. What are you finding is harder about the pandemic? Like, how are you finding the hole is deeper?
I mean, the challenge, Mike, is that, what I explained to the mayors. There was no stockpile, right? It's in many ways
no stockpile
of vaccines, right? So we're looking at this. There was no national strategy or plan for vaccinations. We were leaving it to the states and local leaders to try and figure it out. And so in many ways, we're starting from scratch.
There we go. The starting from scratch line. Okay. We've heard now, how many times have we heard the starting from scratch line?
Since day one.
Yeah. So January 21st, that's literally the day after Biden was inaugurated. CNN reports, quote, headline, Biden inheriting non-existent coronavirus vaccine distribution plan and must start from scratch, sources say. Immediately later that day, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is the head of the Infectious and Allergy Institute, whatever the fuck it's called, at NIH, He went on CNN. I'm sorry, he at least appeared on Thursday in front of the White House and said that there's no way that we're starting from scratch. He's like, basically, he said, quote, there's nothing for us to I'm sorry, that's not the right quote. The right quote is, we certainly are not starting from scratch because there's activity going on in the distribution. Okay. So that's what he said back in January or late January. Axios puts out that episode, but then they went ahead and deleted a tweet that was scrutinizing that claim from Vice President Harris that the Biden administration was, quote unquote, starting from scratch on COVID-19 vaccinations. And they actually haven't even explained why they deleted it. So the
reason why they deleted it is because isn't the girlfriend? Is it the girlfriend or the boyfriend that's covering Harris?
No, that's Alexia McCammon. She's on the Congress beat, so she has nothing to.
Wasn't she on the Harris beat?
She may have been, but not. She's definitely not now. I think she got reassigned in like November or December of last year.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So Axios then here. Let me pull up my screen here just so you guys can see it. This is the tweet that they posted. Okay. That they deleted, and it says Vice President Harris to Mike Allen, there was no national strategy or plan for COVID-19 vaccinations. We're starting from scratch. And then it goes on. This is obviously that was Harris's quote. Mm-hmm. Then the tweet goes on to read, at a press conference last month, Fauci said we certainly are not starting from scratch on vaccine distribution. But this is what they went back to. They literally just go back. They deleted it and then just post the exchange the way it was, and then just have
because it's the way that she wants it.
Yeah, so obviously, like nothing obviously makes sense about this, but they're just going to go ahead and fucking do it anyways.
I don't understand how people can look at this and say that this is honest journalism. How other journalists from the New York Times and fucking CNN can look at something like this and be like, yeah, you know what? This is totally fine. This is totally ethical. This is exactly what journalism should be, is sucking the dick off of the politicians that are there, not holding them accountable for anything that they do whatsoever, just because they vote in a way that you like, because you went to school and you went to some stupid liberal arts class and you just think that Democrats are all great and shit. Suck a fucking dick and stop sucking politicians' dicks. Like, do your fucking job. It's insane. It's fucking crazy to me.
So the media reaction has been very divided on this, but it has largely been from the mainstream outlets been very supportive. So obviously Axios deleted that tweet. But then you have Jay's favorite, PBS NewsHour's Yamiche Asindor, promoting the Biden administration's lie that there was no COVID-19 vaccine distribution plan in place when the president took office. On an MSNBC appearance, she said that they won. Not only did she say that the White House did not inherit, or they inherited no vaccine distribution plan. She then went on to say that now White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says Biden administration has increased the amount of weekly vaccine doses going to states to 13.5 million a week, a 57% increase since January 20th. And then Biden administration is also doubling supply to pharmacies, 2 million doses going out to them this week. But Alcindor went on to say that the number one thing that I hear from my sources when I say, how bad is it? Is it worse than you thought it was? When it comes to former President Trump's response to the virus, literally 9 out of 10 times they say it's worse than we could have ever imagined. Of course they're going to fucking say that. If her sources are all in the White House and they're all working for Biden, of course they're going to say that it was fucking bad.
They're going to try to downplay it. They're trying to set the expectation, and like the good little fucking gahba bitches they are, they follow suit. They do it for them. It's so amazing. Like, how do they not understand they're being used like the little bitches they are? Mind blowing.
So it's amazing that they're. I mean, obviously you can tell they're being used. I don't know if they even realize that they're being used. But this is a tweet from PolitiFact.
Idiots.
It's the best term to use right there. It's useful idiots. This is a tweet from PolitiFact. PolitiFact on February 15th tweeted Vice President Harris told Mike Allen that there was no national strategy or plan for vaccinations and that Biden administration was starting from scratch. That's wrong. The Trump administration had a plan to distribute to locations chosen by states and let them take it from there, which to their credit, PolitiFact, usually very biased in the left-leaning direction. They call
It
there.
really is.
Look how it's getting flamed. Ratioed out of oblivion.
And the quote tweets as well.
The libs do not like that at all. So
no, they don't like it when they're being fact checked because they can't tell a lie whatsoever.
Yeah.
So fucking ridiculous.
And in light of that, this is where it gets even weirder. So Fauci makes that, he debunks that CNN report saying we're certainly not starting from scratch. Then he goes on to say after Harris talks to Axios, Fauci goes on CNN and says, quote, what I think the vice president is referring to is the actual plan of getting the vaccine doses into people's arms was really rather vague. I mean, it was not a well-coordinated plan. Well, how the fuck else are you supposed to get it in people's arms? You use a fucking needle and you get it in their fucking arm.
Well, it's not only that, he also got a call from them. So he's trying to.
I'm sure he did.
He's trying to help this. Look, Fauci is a fucking snake. That's what he is. He's a bureaucratic fucking snake. He went on to say, we can open the schools. You know what? We can't open the schools until we pass the stimulus. You don't need a mask. You need to wear 69 masks.
Nice.
You know what? There was a plan. No, you know what? Now, yet there was a plan, but it wasn't really a plan, but it was a plan, blah, blah, blah. So he's just trying to make it work.
Well,
into it.
It looks like they're just moving the fucking goalposts. They're saying there wasn't a plan, and then they're saying it was a plan, but the plan was not rolled out well because they didn't give us instructions of how literally to put the vaccine into the needle and then stick it into that motherfucker's arms. Like, what do they really need to be like spoon-fed this information? Is that what they're trying to say to us? Because they're talking to us like we're fucking stupid. I mean, I know they do that always, but like this is even more so just dumb as fuck.
It's on a whole nother level because they're actually trying to pretend like you didn't notice what they said just moments or days before.
Right.
And they're using the fact that the Trump administration they did a policy or they went through the strategy where they're going to let local governments, like local governors and districts, take control of how to distribute it. Mm-hmm. And because that's the way it's probably said, and that was the strategy, they're going to come out and say, there was no strategy. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. It was so vague and all this kind of stuff. Like, what do you want them to do? You want them to actually come in, take control of the state and say, this is how it's going to be done? Fuck you, governor. This is how we're going to do it. If they did it that way, you wouldn't hear the end of it being a Trump takeover, that he is cementing himself as dictator. You see the Coast Guard coming in. They're not here to give you the vaccine. They're here to make sure he's the dictator.
Yeah.
That's
what's fucking wild to me,
and
essentially. Okay, I just want to point out a couple things. All right, so
yes,
just statistically speaking, before the Biden administration kicked in, okay, the very first doses of the approved COVID-19 vaccine were administered in mid-December 2020. Okay, so Trump had at least another month before his term ended. And that's when the coronavirus vaccine started circulating. Sandra Lindsay, a healthcare worker in Queens, New York, was the first person in the United States to receive the vaccine. Everybody remembers it was making every single news station, wow, like they're finally getting the vaccine. And by the way, did I mention she's a woman? They nominated the first woman to receive the vaccine. Thank you, Jen Psaki.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this joke because I'm going to use it with everything. I'm at work. What happened here? Why didn't you complete it? Wait a minute. Don't you know my girlfriend is a woman?
All right. So as we go on, right after that, they started distributing it to the states. All right, the states, they know their people better than the federal government. We have a system of federalism, and all of a sudden, the Biden administration acts like that doesn't exist. Okay, so once they start distributing it to the states, by the time we actually get to Inauguration Day, you know how many vaccines are distributed? Jay,
It's
you know how many?
It was like what, 900 and something thousand?
30 million were distributed. You know how many were actually,
No,
how
I was
many
gonna
shots
say a
were
day.
delivered? You know how many
Sorry.
shots were actually administered?
How many actually?
15 million shots were administered by Inauguration Day. You know how many people
By the
got fully vaccinated with both doses of the coronavirus vaccine?
How many?
2 million. So
Including when did Biden get his second dose?
he got it before Inauguration Day.
He got it before
both. He got both of them. So sure, maybe it was slow rolling in the beginning, but to say that there was no plan is absolute bullshit. And I'm like tearing my hair out trying to say yes, there was a fucking plan. Even if you don't think it was the best plan, there was still a fucking plan.
Right.
And 15 million shots were administered, 31 million or 30 or 31 million vaccines were distributed.
If there was no plan, how's that starting from scratch?
It's just fucking insane. Anyways, Billy Widmer Jr. Thank you, Billy. Says, just sign up on the Habibi Bros Patreon. Thank you all for all that you do. Much respect for the Montanan in Sacramento, California. Is that Jen Psaki's town? Jen Sacramento?
Jen Sacramento?
Yeah.
Jen Sacramento.
Hey, you know who's the mayor of that town? We nominated a woman.
It's got to be a woman.
Actually, it's a man, but eventually a woman will be there.
Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, it's insane watching these people step back. I mean, the CDC is doing the same thing with schools and schools being reopened. After she said, you know what? No, they don't need to be vaccinated. Everything's fine. All that's good. Jen Psaki came out and it's like she's speaking in her own capacity. The fuck you talking about? She's speaking in her own capacity. She's speaking to the data that they have, to the science. I thought this administration.
Jay, let me slow you down there. Are you saying you don't trust the science? Are you saying that the science isn't a woman?
That's what we should be coming out with. She came out.
Jay, I'm only going to trust the science if it's a woman. Science. Science is there are two genders of science.
Okay, that saved us from being canceled.
Yes, thank you. I'm actually glad you brought up the school reopenings because the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said last week that schools can safely open as long as a range of precautions are in place, offering a roadmap for a return to classrooms that in parts of the country have been shuttered for nearly a year. Okay, parts of the country. Not every part of the country has been shuttered down, but mostly places like Chicago, DC, Los Angeles. Where else? I'm trying to think.
Seattle. I think
Seattle. A lot of these these blue cities and blue states mostly. I think some of the blue cities and red states, you probably don't see that as much. Like in Florida or Texas. But by and large, most of the school, I'd say a good chunk of schools have already reopened. But in spite of that, everybody seems to be waffling within the White House. You have Jen Psaki, who basically said, as long as a woman is teaching, it's okay to reopen the school. I'm just kidding. She never said that, but I can imagine she would say that.
Say some shit like that.
She'd say like
all women teaching. They were good.
So so we are at the point now. How many teachers are there in the United States? Like 1.5 million, something like that.
I'm not sure.
I think I saw a statistic saying that 1.5 million teachers are. There are 1.5 million public school teachers. A lot of private school, a lot of charter schools are already reopened, but 1.5 million teachers.
There are in America's public schools. There are 3.2 million full-time equivalent teachers.
Okay, all right. So 3.2. Considering how we're probably vaccinating close to 3 million a day, why aren't they going to fucking school yet?
They could have been done it. They could have been done in one day. But the
Seriously.
thing is, they don't want to go to school because teachers unions are trying to make it out where they can do the least amount of work and get paid the most amount of money. They want to be jumped into the front of the line when we've had grocery store clerks working since the beginning of this fucking pandemic, since the beginning of when they don't even know how to treat it as properly as they do now. Now you have a less death rate to it because we actually know how to treat it a little bit better than what we had before. And even then, when it was brand new, we still had cashiers and people putting toilet paper back onto the shelves, all that kind of stuff. Where the fuck do these teachers have the nerve to actually think that they're the most important pieces of garbage here in our society? Like, they're shit, and they've been doing shit at their jobs. A lot of the teachers' unions have been doing absolutely garbage, has been forcing the quality of education down the drain, and they're saying that they need to be the teachers need to be taken care of. And somebody, I forget who, made a really good point that the conversation these people are having around this is not what's best for the children, it's what's best for the teachers. And that's never how this is supposed to be handled. And that's exactly why having something like teachers unions is shit, because the product you're having is education to your kid. Like, that's what the product is. And then you're having teachers unions being more cautious over what teachers are going through than what the children are going through.
Yeah, I want to say there was actually I don't know if I don't want to take this out of context. Oh, this is great. I don't know if I could play this clip because I probably got to download it. But Vice President Harris, when asked on the Today Show if it's safe for teachers to go back to school even if they're not vaccinated, she said teachers should be a priority. And I don't know if she's like, it's like basically being asked in a teachers versus children type of scenario. I'll just show you what the actual tweet says, because I don't want to obviously have it taken out of context. But this is what she says, and I can't play the clip because for some reason our programming doesn't allow you to actually hear what the video says, unlike if we did it on Twitch. Conversation for another day. Well, but anyways, I'm just gonna say that even if you took all the context out of this, that is basically the Biden administration policy, is that teachers are the priority. It's not the kids. It's always been the teachers. And the reason for that is because they realize who can actually vote them in and out of power, and it's the teachers. The kids, they don't give a shit. They stay out of, they hate school regardless. They hate school at home. They hate school in person. Fuck them kids, right?
That's what it is. And we're seeing the damage that it's happening to these guys, to the children, is almost irreversible.
Yeah.
And it's happening to kids that are in between the ages of like 11 to 16.
Oh, even though they hate 69. Oh,
nice.
Nice. First of all, any kid who's 69 years old, high five straight up.
It might have just been Biden, like a few years ago,
Biden's a 69-year-old kid
trying to get a couple of looks here and there.
Yeah. Billy Finn, thank you. Billy says Pat Co, the teachers. I don't know what that means. You might have to explain that. But anyways, why am I doing that? Anyways, this is another point. James, I was saying suicide rates among kids are jumping up, which is insane. You know what's crazy? Suicide rates amongst every single demographic is increasing, but the fact that it's increasing among kids is fucking absurd. I don't know why we still have this going on. And, usually when things happen to kids, that's when we all like pause and say, what the fuck have we done? Like, there's always been that people, like, for example, the Sandy Hook massacre, when there was a majority young kids getting killed in the school shooting. I think everybody, regardless of what their positions were on guns, on the Second Amendment, I feel like most people took at least a pause and be like, what the fuck is going on? This is absolutely horrific. it's always when it happens to kids that we always
You
start to find a little bit more consensus and common ground. But no, we're way past it. I guess because liberals think that because we didn't actually ban all guns after Sandy Hook, that there's no reason to come together. But maybe that's just one aspect, and I shouldn't attribute it to this. But
right, and then Billy Flint is explaining it. It's like the air traffic controllers union struck, and Reagan fired the shit out of them. Fuck yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
fuck yeah.
Let's go.
I'd say fire the fucking teachers unions and tell them to go fuck themselves. You tell the teachers unions you're going to take their funds away, and that's it. But the thing is, Biden knows teachers unions funnel your tax-paying money back to Democratic campaigns. It goes in fucking the pallet loads of your tax-paying money goes back to these teachers unions that the dollar is spread thin enough only amongst administrations. Teachers barely get bullshit, and then they still funnel some of that money back into fucking the campaigns. And then they're like, oh, why aren't you paying more taxes so you can pay for teachers?
Yeah,
suck my dick and go fuck yourself. Yeah. You guys are pieces of shit. Absolute garbage. It's a scam.
Yeah, I'm just gonna I know Billy Finn says you're a journo. Look, I never claim to know everything. I mean, I am always consider myself to be going through an education, and I'll never tell you I know something when I don't. I didn't know it, so I'll read up on it, and I'll get up to speed on Patco. I am going through the process of learning a lot about history, so just give me your patience and understanding, and I appreciate it. Anyways, so interestingly enough, in Vox, the publication that everybody left because it bent hard left, even they are allowing basically people who are frustrated at the schools and the teachers unions for not reopening, particularly the teachers unions, to have a platform on their website, which I didn't think was possible. So I have to say this is kind of interesting. They have an epidemiologist, Benjamin Linus, talking about why he's losing patience with the teachers unions. And I imagine he's getting flamed for this, but when it happened, when it seems like there's so much confusion going on with the teachers unions and that they can't deal with the fact that science is telling them it's okay to go back to school. And they're all like, yeah, I don't believe in the science, so go fuck yourself. It was never about the science to begin with.
Right.
So it's just, it's all fucking stupid. And now Biden is basically going off to undermine Jen Psaki, saying that he wants to open schools to obviously 5 days a week at the end of his first 100 days in that CNN town hall that he was at. And I just kind of love it because it reminds you almost of the Trump White House and how Trump would almost always undermine his White House press secretaries. First was Sean Spicer.
Always.
Yeah, it always happened. And now we're finally seeing it happen on the other side. Of course, it's probably not nearly as noticeable just because people are like, yeah, Saki bomb and all that good shit.
Saki bomb.
Yes, queen. Yes, my redheaded queen.
It's amazing.
And yes, she nominated a woman. It's just, I hate it. It's just untenable. But you also have Dr. Fauci saying on Wednesday in a Political article that vaccinating all teachers against COVID-19 before reopening schools is quote unquote non-workable, wading into an issue that has taken center stage for the Biden administration amid the ongoing pandemic. He told CBS this morning, if you're going to say that every single teacher needs to be vaccinated before you get back to school, I believe, quite frankly, that it's a non-workable situation. So you have Fauci, who everybody is standing for, saying that, these goals that we're setting, unattainable. Just fucking go back to school. I think it's okay. I'm a scientist. everybody's like, no, fuck your science. Your science is wrong. That's basically what they're saying. Like, go shove it up your ass, Fauci. It's just
so good.
We live beyond parody. We live beyond. It's beyond parody at this point.
He's gonna walk that back later on too.
He's gonna have basically Kamala Harris reading him his Miranda rights, saying, "Are you sure you don't want to take that back?"
I know, and it's really funny because like when he first started, the journalists were praising him. He's like, you know what? It's so good now to freely speak what I want to say and all this kind of stuff. And it's like every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, Kamala's like, shut the fuck up, Fauci.
Yes, man.
Get back in the fucking truck. Put on your handcuffs. I could just totally see like Fauci's just like literally locked up in the basement dungeon, and they like he's got his arms up over his head. He's like, "Yes, please, Madam Vice President, I'll do anything you say. Just please take these hands."
It's Madam President, you bitch.
I'll do anything you say, Madam President. I just want to see my family. That's the type of freedom he has now. So, man. Speaking of people who are locked up, I feel really bad about this because this has been happening in a place that people absolutely do not deserve it because they are not used to living through this. And that is the blizzard happening in Texas this week. And they're going to be continued to be hit with a lot more snow. According to the Texas Tribune, that in addition to COVID claiming more than 40,000 lives in the state of Texas, that power outages have left millions of Texans out. I'm sorry, that millions of Texans have lost power. They have lost heat. A lot of them have had their pipes burst, causing flooding and even more misery. You're having people die in their garages seeking warmth because they turn on their car, but they have their garage door closed, so they get carbon monoxide poisoning. Just all the worst shit in the world happening to people that really were not expecting this. Look, I lived in, well, I guess you could say I at least was in Oklahoma when my parents were living there during the winter months. And let me tell you, when they get like a couple inches of snow, like the entire city is paralyzed. Imagine what a fucking blizzard would do. Of course, Oklahoma City got hit hard, but Texas, obviously, every single county got fucking rampaged. And then all of a sudden, everybody's talking about it's become a political issue in and of itself. You know, looking at how these frozen wind turbines are getting frozen over. And conservatives or I don't want to say every conservative, but there's some prominent conservatives saying that they actually lost power because they have wind turbines. They were relying on like maybe 10 to 15%, 20% at the most of their actual power grid on wind power. The other 80 to 90% of their power grid was on natural gas. So the fact that everybody, at least not everybody, I would say some people on the right missing that obvious point that you don't need, well, for one, you don't need wind turbines. But in this instance, we just like obviously don't have the infrastructure set up in all 50 states where our power grid is fully reliable. I mean, Jay, you live in California, the bluest, most liberal state in the nation. How many times do you have rolling blackouts?
Well, luckily for me, I haven't experienced them. They're mainly like in some areas in the north and like in the valley and stuff. I live in Orange, so I haven't really experienced any of them. But they happen, they happen routinely, and we get messages over them happening. And I know people who it happens to. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that would eradicate a lot of this is if we just went back to nuclear. We had nuclear power plants running here in California that, you know, for all intents and purposes, they are probably the most green and reliable energy sources we could use, and to power our cities efficiently. But for some reason, there's a stigma to it, and people have been lobbied to.
You want to know why? You want to know why there's a
from-
stigma to it? Is because you got brown people like us saying go nuclear.
Oh yeah, baby.
I will say this. I want to fact check myself here. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, otherwise known as ERCOT, projected that 80% of the grid's winter capacity, or 67 gigawatts, could be generated by natural gas, coal, and some nuclear power. Of course, Texas is home to basically all the nation's oil refineries. So it's not like they're short on oil. And I mean, basically, you've even had some power companies saying, don't use our power, switch to another switch to another provider, because we're charging like $9,000 per, fucking gigawatt, or whatever the measure it is that you need power in a particular household, something like that. It's obviously it's a situation that's become untenable, but somehow everyone's like, you see, this is what happens when you have the Green New Deal. Like, bitch, it's fucking Texas. This isn't the Green New Deal. This is just like unprecedented level of snow and cold. You're going to have situations where like people are going to use more power and cause basically a shutdown of the entire grid because their homes aren't normally set up for this type of cold.
Right. And too many people are trying to use the heaters and stuff. And the worst part is, the worst thing I'm seeing is burst what's it called, pipes and stuff, because they're not used to this stuff. And
let me tell you, that shit is miserable.
It's so bad. And looking at that stuff is horrible. I've never experienced it myself, luckily, because I lived in the UAE and it's always hot as fuck out there. And living here in California, but I've never experienced like water bursting. But when I was in Oklahoma,
I mean, they bursted on you, but it wasn't water
all over my face. But it's horrible, and it's very very sad to see. It really is. Yeah. But and to politicize it the way that they are, unless you're talking about nuclear power, you're not being serious. Yeah. You aren't.
NoCal Matt, thank you. NoCal says we have rolling blackouts all the time when it's hot.
Yes.
I lived in Pakistan, and they had rolling brownouts and blackouts all the time, simply because Pakistan. So,
oh my god! In Lebanon, we would have to go blackout every 6 hours. You black out for 2 to 4 hours every 6 hours every day. That's how it was in Lebanon.
Yeah.
In some places we couldn't even get water and stuff. It was fucking shit.
All right, so Nazi says it is though, Siraj. They are moving towards green energy at the detriment of the grid. Jen says they turned a quarter of our power grid over to wind farms, Siraj. All right, I stand corrected. I'm sure it's not the Green New Deal, though. I know that the Green New Deal obviously would be way worse, but green energy, if this is something that they end up experiencing, look, I think this is if anything, this is a testament that going down that route, and this is the reason why I think AOC's Green New Deal is so fucking expensive at $93 trillion, is because it proposed, in addition to obviously Medicare for all and basically universal basic income and canceling all student debt, it proposed basically, knocking down all American cities and rebuilding them back up to, I guess, create some level of green infrastructure. If they were to account for basically how fucking cold it gets, and now a lot of these cities, because if we're dealing with climate change, all of a sudden, you just know that even if we can't slow down climate change, because of course we are just one nation, and we have no control over like what China and what India does.
And they don't give a fuck.
And they give zero shits.
They don't give a fuck.
Everything that we are going to do is going to make us worse off, because it's not going to make a single fucking difference that we switch all our infrastructure to account for green energy, when really we're just going to get shellacked by even worse blizzards, even hotter summers, and it'll be because we didn't stand up to China. And this is why it's so important to stand up to China, because ultimately they're the ones who are basically calling the shots at the moment. We don't like to say that they're the number one country in the world, but basically they are.
They control our
think
NBA,
think of it like Mario Kart.
They control.
Think of it like Mario Kart. They're like second. They are second to us in the race right now. There's a blue shell coming for us, and they know that they just have to stay in second, because as soon as that blue shell comes and hits the United States, boom, they're in first. They win the race.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
That's exactly what's going to happen. And so basically what I'm saying is we need to invade China and India to make them America, so that we can impose the Green New Deal on them, and then we don't have to worry about climate change. Simple solution,
save the
right?
Uyghurs.
And we also save the Uyghurs. And I also have to point out this problem, because this is something that nobody likes to talk about, but I've had this idea for several years. We need to invade every single country and make them America, and then you don't have an immigration problem anymore. Because how can you enter America when you've always been in America?
To be a true progressive and leftist means you want world domination.
Exactly.
If you don't want world domination, you're not a real leftist.
Yeah, you're not a real progressive. You don't care about the world unless you invade every single country.
Yes. Okay? The American caliphate. That's
and
right,
then,
Nate.
And then if you want to make sure that we all are saved by the warm embrace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, convert to Islam.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. Bear witness that there is no God but God. And
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah.
Muhammad is the messenger of God. I almost forgot that. I would have been a very bad Muslim.
How do I know it, man? Our dads are watching this right now, just like, oh.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, our dads are watching this. It's really bad. All right. Now it's time to go get Ern. I'll be right back. You go ahead, send Habibi your questions. We have one last segment, so we'll do it with Ern, and then we'll take your questions.
And I'll read off some of the comments, anything that comes up. But is Allah run by a woman? You know what? If there's a woman up there, he likely beats her. Greenland, we should have bought Greenland for sure. He went to, I don't know if you guys heard him barking, but I think he just beat up Ern. Hey, Fuzzy, I will suck your mom's titties. Well, Jen, living in the UAE, where like a lot of things were either, banned or not allowed to say or all that kind of stuff, and then coming back to freedom is where I want to do. Chris, we save that for premium episodes. We say that for premium, Chris. Well, that worked, Liz. 69. You nipples for what though? Like, what do you want to do with my nipples? This works.
Here he is.
The king, the sheikh, the caliphate, Mr. Ern.
All right, Ernie, say what's up. Say what's up. Say
What's
psych right now.
And yes, Legion, Janak Legion. Lebanon does have good alcohol. It's arak and wine. Arak is, I don't know if you guys know what sambuca is, but it's like a liquor. It tastes kind of like licorice. You put ice in it and it becomes like a milky texture to it. It's really good. You just sip on it.
Polio says, Siraj Jay, I'm very disappointed that you have yet to have your first female guest on your show. I might have to stop following you. It's not for a lack of it is not for a lack of trying. Trust me, we have tried. We have tried, and everybody so far has said, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then they just never get back to us.
They just block us.
Yeah. So the invitation is open to whoever wants to join us. You're more than welcome. It is just no one has said yes yet. So
it might be because I go in and be like, hey, like your tits, you want to come on HBH? I might need to change my strategy up a little bit.
Yeah. I will say this. We're nominating a woman to be our next Habibi Bro guest. So send us your resumes if you're interested in joining up and participating and being a guest on Habibi Power Hour. Let us know. Look, I have invited people all the time. It's not like I don't. I actually have been making more of an effort to get them on, but I realize that there's a certain, how you say, je ne sais quoi about us that probably has a lot of women being like,
Well, I think like Bridget, like they're saying Bridget would come on.
Actually, yeah,
Katie
Bridget has said yes. Bridget said she'd love to join us. So it's just a matter right now of coordinating that. So that's on me. That's on me. So Nicole Arbor, I don't know Nicole, but I can probably connect with her and see if she'd be interested. But I need to find out a little bit more about her. Anyways, but if Jennifer Rubin could be our first guest on Habibi Power Hour,
my God,
dude, I would fucking die.
I would freak.
I would die.
You should DM her though and ask her.
I can't DM her. She doesn't follow me.
Oh, so if you don't follow each other, she turned that off?
Yeah, well, she turned that off. So like, if she doesn't follow me, even if I didn't follow her,
I got another woman on here. I'm in Brian Stelter's DMs right now, so I'm gonna ask this woman if he wants to be on Habibi Bros. Hey, Bri, how's it going, clown shit?
I'm sure we can find.
You wanna be a guest? Okay, no, I won't do this. The reason why I won't do this is because
you respect women.
Well, no, you have a respectable career, and Brian Stelter
does not.
Brian Stelter, no, I don't. So I don't give a shit. But I care about you.
Yeah. Eric Halverson, thank you. Eric says, is Red Steez coming on this Power Hour? He said he was going to be on the Power Hour on this podcast the other day. We weren't able to work it out this week, but I think next week we're going to be able to make it work. So, Jen says, ask Gina Carano, slide into her DMs, Jay. Actually, we should reach out to her. That'd be interesting.
We should.
Yeah.
Well, actually, see,
maybe
that's the power of the blue check too, though. You can
I can probably get that. Robert Jefferson says, Siraj, you respect women? Jay, no. Okay. So speaking of people who have no respect for anyone, the Lincoln Project.
Well, Liz has been wanting you to show us your nipples.
Wait, what?
She did a super chat for $69 saying,
"Holy shit, really?"
Yeah, she wants you to show your nipples. So show your nipples.
I don't know why I didn't see that.
Just put the super chat up.
Multiple messages about Jay's nipples and YouTube is actively
blocked. No. Show your nipples, then read it.
What? Right there?
Now read it.
Now read it?
Yeah.
I tried to send multiple messages about Jay's nipples and YouTube is actively blocking me. Let's see if this works.
And you showed your nipples. So it did work. It worked, Liz. We got him to show us.
I believe it's Liv, not Liz.
Oh, Liv. Sorry.
Wow, Jay.
Bro, I've had 2 seltzers and a third of this bottle, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It's a Japanese Kentucky.
Here, you want to see Ern's nipples?
Yes, always.
Show him, bud. Come on. Wait.
How do you know exactly where his nipples are?
Actually, I don't, but good boy. He hates us just as much as everyone watching right now or listening. Man, so good boy. Anyways, back to what we were saying. People who have no respect for anyone, the Lincoln Project, they are reaching, I want to say, essentially 100% death.
100%.
Yes. So there's a follow-up report by the 19th, this independent nonprofit newsroom that Amanda Becker has been reporting on, titled "Some Lincoln Project Founders Knew About Sexual Harassment Allegations as Early as March last year." The revelation comes as the political group's domestic and international associates cut ties, including an Israeli prime ministerial hopeful. That Israeli prime ministerial hopeful wasn't obviously not Netanyahu. It's obviously the challenging Netanyahu. Why can't I find the fucking name? God, this is the tough. Oh, Gideon Sar. Or Saar. God, I'm really I gotta have to like take this off now. Anyways, what's so great is that I just want to bring up these tweets for you, just because. Oh, it was from an account I muted. Okay, hold on 1 second. Here we go. So this is Kurt Bardella. He was actually a senior advisor with the Lincoln Project. Okay, all right. He's responding directly to the story, saying, "Just shut it down already. It's over." Okay, we're gonna keep it going. Keep it going. George Conway tweets out, "It's a shit." He quote tweets that tweet saying, "It's a shame, and we shouldn't forget the hard work of so many people and the positive things the organization did. But yes, I think this is right." Okay, get ready for it. Okay, it's continuing on. Jennifer Rubin, "I agree. None of the failures of the people at the top should be laid at the feet of diligent employees who put their heart and soul into beating Trump. Hubris and greed have ended this particular group's effectiveness. Other unrelated groups and people carry on the good fight." That's how I imagine Jet Rubin says everything or tweets.
That's how she says.
That's how she says everything. But this is literally the best part. All right, so you guys can see that. This is the best part. George Conway tweets, "As usual, you put it better than I did. You put it better than I did, Jennifer. Fucking shoot me right in the goddamn face, Jay."
Just fucking ridiculous. Just so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Isn't it great?
It's too good. It's too good. I wish you could DM her, and I wish we could get her on here. It would be so good.
I have for a long time thought about what would happen if I actually ran into Jennifer Rubin, like in person, in real life. And I realized that my gut is hanging out. This shirt actually makes me look. You
guys would be. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm working the weight off of Habibis. Okay, I've been hitting the gym the last like month and a half, quite a bit.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm shedding the weight. So just
get it, Habibi. Get it.
I'm trying. Anyways, I just think about how like if I ever met Jennifer Rubin in person, I would have to give her a huge hug and tell her, "Thank you so much for the content. You're a lifesaver." And that would be it. I don't think she'd actually understand why I'd be hugging her, but I would give her a hug. So, anyways, let me button this shirt back up. I look like I look like fucking Homer Simpson over here.
She won't know why you'd be giving her a hug, but you have to like film it and put it on Twitter. And
or TikTok.
Everyone would cry. Like we would all fucking tear up.
Oh yeah, no. If I got like a selfie with Jennifer Rubin that would break and posted it on Twitter, the internet would break.
It would.
It would fucking smash. So, yeah. So, anyways, Jennifer Rubin is being the wise sage of the Lincoln Project is the fucking is the piss on the top of the shit sandwich that is 2021. And with that, Habibi's is officially 69 minutes into Habibi Power Hour. How nice is that? Toast.
That's toast.
And with that, Habibis, let's take your questions. Let's go ahead and ask us anything. Ask us anything. Okay. It's been a crazy day. I actually have been logged off pretty much the entire day. It's been a very busy day. I actually have a couple cool things going on. So I recorded an episode of Hashing It Out this afternoon. with Tom Rogan, a colleague of mine at the Examiner, and we literally talked about UFOs for like 40, 45 minutes. It was a lot of fun. So that's what I was working on. I was working on other stuff too, but I'm actually really glad I stayed logged off for the day, because you want to know why? It was a fucking toxic day on social media. And
it really was.
I am, well, Bean Dude sends a super chat. We didn't see it, we didn't see it, Nate Beebe. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, there. Says Nate Beebe says, I've been told I'm unable to issue horny bonks due to my admiration of a certain FNC reporter. Also, happy early birthday, Faye. That's nice. I feel like, Nate Beebe, you are not allowed to bring up the FNC reporter throughout Lent, even though I know you're Jewish. So
that's stupid.
That's up to you. He's gonna bring her up even more now. So yeah, so go ahead and ask us questions. Shivens asks, Jay, besides eating ass and drinking, what do you do for a living? That's a good question, Jay. What do you do for a living?
I'm in sales. I'm a sales manager. And also what I do is sell my techniques of eating ass to your moms.
That's very sweet. Hold on one second. Tracy asks, where's our sweet Ernie? Let me grab him. And she spelled it wrong. Earnie. You must
Tracy. I don't think anyone's as drunk as I am right now. I sell mothers. Josh, I don't sell mothers. Yes, Janice, I sell peaches. That's exactly what it is.
Ernie was busy humping another stuffed animal. So Big Ray says, Siraj, will you follow my new Twitter account on my birthday, February 22nd? It's at Rach Boogaloo. Yes, just hit me up in the DMs. I'll go ahead and hit that follow. Let's see here. Captain Free Jack says sales manager equals polite title for pimp. Let's see here.
Jay sells step tools. Step tool. Well, it helps me get through the kitchen for sure.
Josh says he sells mothers. Sarah H says, hey Jay, how many times was your Habib ass been kicked off of Twitter? Always look forward to your tweet that gets you kicked off.
Honestly, I've legitimately been kicked off at least 11 times. At least 11
times. I have a record of every single account.
Yes, and we need to make sure we make that into some kind of merch. Like I want that on a coffee cup for myself.
A coffee cup or a T-shirt, something like that.
Yes.
Fuzzy's lib ass comes in here. Fuzzy, yes, question for both of you libs. If you had the chance to play Mario Kart with Joe Biden while President Harris called world leaders, which character do you each play with, Jay and Peach? Jay's
Mario
definitely playing with Peach.
I like playing with Peach. I'm not gonna lie. Like she's one of my favorite characters to play with. Her and Yoshi. Yoshi because of the tongue, and Peach because, well, the peach.
And I like to play as Kirby because of everything that he sucks.
And you do suck well.
I suck. I could suck a golf ball through a fucking water hose. through a golf ball through a straw.
You do well.
Yep. Let's see. Not Steve S. Is Jay giving up ass eating for Lent or doubling down?
Do I look Christian to you, Steve? Like the fuck, man.
Look at him. I mean, just look at his background too. Just move your head, Jay. Look at that.
That's your mom's butt, Steve.
Yeah.
That's my face.
The DJ of choice asks, don't you think it's good alienating all your old friends who are disgusted by you thinking Trump isn't that bad? It's really making me happy creating a perimeter these guys don't want to cross. Huh?
I don't know. But we had some super chats. Also, some super chat questions.
Anthony Rivera says, so the major takeaways from this week so far have been Twitter is a cesspool. We already knew this. Cuomo is trash. Also knew this. Texas is darn cold right now. And Rachel is horny as heck for that diplomat.
And if you go up, and another super chat, she asked the question.
Oh, really? Where?
She asked the question. Go up. There's two below it. Below Anthony's thing. Eric Holverson and Rachel both did a super chat.
Okay, okay. Eric says, who do you think are the biggest grifters of the former leftist conservative media world?
Oh, that's a good one. There's what's her name? C Cup?
S.E. Cup? C
S.E.
Cup?
Cup.
C Cup? Like
C
she's
Cup.
a bra size?
Right? I think she's one of the biggest grifters that we're seeing over here right now because she totally changed her persona. A lot of these people have when Trump took office because they're like they would say some outlandish stuff and all of these things, and then when they see like how harshly people would attack Trump, they got scared like little bitches, and they're like, you know what? Let's join these people and just demonize Trump, and they don't have to see me for what I really am.
Yeah,
that could just be the alcohol talking.
Who I think is the biggest grifter of the former leftist conservative media world? Probably Oliver Darcy, because he used to be part of the conservative media.
Yeah, he was on Blaze TV, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on Blaze. Rachel Kaplan says, Jay, as someone who lived in the UAE, what do you think of the new Emirati ambassador to Israel?
What do you think? What do you think of my getup, Rachel? I did this for you. No, I'm just playing. No, Ben, she's at it. Ben, you need to control your woman, Ben. No, and honestly, I think it's fucking phenomenal that we're actually seeing an Emirati be an ambassador for Israel. Like, it's let alone being able to just go into Israel with your UAE passport. It's all of this stuff is just fascinating, and the fact that he is a good looking hunk is a gift from the UAE to the Israeli women.
Abe Eckstein says, still gray. That's Ian Miles Chung. No question, biggest grifter. What's up, Bernie?
Oh, 100%. I agree with you.
Essentially.
Essential. Oh, damn it.
Well, you said 100%, so I had to drink.
Especially because he doesn't even fucking live in this country either.
Yeah, he lives in Malaysia. Man, wild shit. Let's see what else we got. Some other people. Curtis Hawk says Charlie Sykes and Amanda Carpenter too. Actually, you know what's wild? Curtis Hawk was mentioned in the Steve Schmidt statement, which Curtis Hawk very critical of the Lincoln Project, but he was there for Steve Schmidt when he was going through some pretty, I guess, mental spell. So shout out to you, Curtis. Always showing your side of humanity. We always respect that. Mickey White says, wasn't Candace Owen a former leftist? That really? I don't think. I mean, she's definitely a grifter. I don't know if she was a former leftist. Maybe the question itself is just so. Let's go back to it.
I think it's saying
who do you think are the biggest grifters of the former leftist conservative media world? So these people that were leftists that turned into conservative
media, or other way around? Or grifters as a whole, because there's also Dave Rubin is one that comes to mind as well. If you're talking about a former leftist, but there's not many I've seen that came into conservative media in a huge way. Candace Owens is one. David.
I mean,
David
I guess
maybe.
people, maybe people will call me a former leftist grifter within the conservative media world because I am. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm actually a former leftist. Everyone just calls me a liberal. I don't know what I am half the time.
You're a gay incel lib.
That's
like
true,
that's we know what you are.
DJ of Choice comes back with his clarifying comment saying, when I said these guys, I didn't mean you guys. I meant all my old friends. It was just badly phrased face palm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, DJ. That was a very confusing comment. I was like, is this like an old old classmate of mine like talking shit and trolling? It says, being a hip hop DJ, almost all my old friends flipped from loving Trump to Trump is a racist when he became president. Yeah, that's actually how pretty much all hip hop.
The whole
and
and also the whole media look on him as well changed
100%.
too. Well, essentially.
Fuck. I ran out of my.
Oh, look at you going to drinking water.
Well, you want me to get a new one right in the middle of as the episode is ending?
You should do what I do and just have a bottle with you.
Yeah, well, I got a bottle right here, but do I really want to drink from it?
We know what happens to you. Yes, do it. Do it. Put your lips on it. Suck it in. That is what I'm talking about.
There we go. That wasn't so bad. Okay. I'm kidding. I wasn't gonna cough. Nick says Tim Pool is former leftist, even though he doesn't believe it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Jen
right.
says
that's
Siraj
right.
Jen says Siraj
Nate.
is still a lib. I think that's mostly true.
That is right.
Oh, Anang Bai. Thanks for joining us, Habibi. Habibi, I should say. Is this Clubhouse?
Habibi.
Why can't I raise my hand? You know, Clubhouse. Have you used Clubhouse, Jay?
Not yet.
I should invite you.
Invite me. And
yeah,
then we'll have
but I also need to accept your crypto invite.
We'll just have conversations to each other without actually calling each other.
Yeah.
And not invite anyone else to it.
And not invite anyone else. Just have it continually going. You know, actually, I don't want to blow Anong's spot, but he's got something cool in the works that I am desperate to listen to. And I cannot wait. And he's got, I hope it's something that he continues going down that path, because I'm very excited for him. So I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just saying, Anong, I really hope you continue doing that shit, because it's really cool. And I think the world needs to hear it. So, any other questions before we sign off for the night? I know it's kind of been a dark day for a lot of you Habibis, so we just want to provide a little bit of light for you. Obviously, you know, when it comes to things that are very toxic on social media, I mean, we don't need to get into it, but I know that you guys probably all had a lot of respect for Rush Limbaugh, who passed away today at 70. And the guy was a titan in conservative media. Really, I mean, he
radio
conservative radio. I mean, he basically cemented and established the foundation for conservative radio, talk radio. And I don't think we'll ever see someone like him ever again.
Right. I would even say like alternative media in general.
Yeah, alternative media for sure. And whether you loved him or hate him or disagree with him or agree with him, like, I think he was a force in his own right. And, you know, I didn't grow up with him, nor did anyone in my family, because obviously I'm a lib, grow up with him. But, you know, I think it's important to recognize everyone's humanity. And while I may not have agreed with him when he was living in the flesh, I'll pray for his soul. Inna Allahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. To God we belong, and to him we shall return. So I hope all the Habibis at least can take heart in knowing that you know, we'll always continue to speak the unvarnished truth to you all. And even if we don't get everything right, we will certainly hold ourselves accountable. So Habibis, before we go, Liv, sorry I couldn't highlight your what's it called, your super chat beforehand with the $69, but I appreciate the $6.96. That's very nice of you. Thank you. And that's for earned. So Habibis, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon. We got a new episode coming out this weekend. We're going to either record Friday or Saturday. We're not entirely sure yet, but it's going to be jam-packed with a lot of good shit that we missed from tonight's episode. And when we talk about it, it's going to blow your dicks off. So,
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. So, Habibis, love and peace to you all. Hope you all have a great night and a great rest of the week. And we will see you on the next Habibi Power Hour or Habibi Premium Hour this weekend on our Patreon channel. For that, I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Mujahed Kobbe.
And we're the Habibi Bros. Thank you for joining us for another Habibi Power Hour. Peace, Habibis. Love y'all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Be sick.